Exciting day. I want to start with this, all of you joining us. It's been refreshing to get back in person, face-to-face with the media that covers this great game of college football, so appreciate you coming out. It is an exciting day because it does signify that we're about to start a season. And really looking forward to what we got going this fall. Really proud of the two individuals we got with us here, Avery Roberts and Jaden Grant, two great leaders on our football team, been productive players, counting on them in a big way this fall to continue to lead our defense as we continue to progress and go. We got a lot of great things going at Oregon State, with our recruiting continues to build a roster that we're proud of, what these guys are doing on and off the field. Had a great summer in regards to getting bigger, stronger, faster. The continuity we've had on our coaching staff, returning so many assistants, headed into year 4 now for me, and only having 2 transitions over those 4 years. I think it's big for a place like Oregon State to have the consistency. It's schematically, but also knowing our players, knowing what we're identifying in recruiting, and it's helped build our roster that we're feeling very confident with to come into this fall and play a schedule that's always tough in this league. It's always impressive. We got together as head coaches yesterday. That room of coaches, with the players that they brought and then what they've got on those rosters, you got to play well in this league every Saturday to win. And that's why I've loved it. I played in this league as a player 20 some odd years ago, been around it now for a long time, and I've always appreciated that about the Pac-12, that you got to play well to win. And we face great talent and great scheme from a variety of different coaches in this league. And so really appreciate it to be a part of it. Looking forward to what we've got going. One thing I will mention is another momentum piece we feel strongly about is that we're redoing our stadium. That this will be the last time this fall that we'll play in the current Research Stadium. Construction, demolition will begin after the season, and then work through one season of cranes and building. And so after that one, we had 3 more years, we have a brand new stadium that I think continues to show the momentum we got, the belief in the place, the program. It'll be game-changing for football, but also the athletic department itself and the university to continue to showcase Corvallis and the great state of Oregon in a big-time stadium on Saturdays in the fall. With that, again, appreciate you guys being here. Great face-to-face. I'll take any questions.
All right, you're welcome to come up and ask the questions into the mic. Thank you.
Hi, Eric Sonheimer from the LA Times. Could you talk about the development of your quarterback?
Yeah, we feel like we've got a quarterback room that is full of some talent, and it's going to be competitive this month in training camp. Starting with Tristan Gebbia, started for us multiple games last year, suffered an injury that was a longer-term injury that he's coming back from, should be healthy in August here to practice. I think he's got a great skill set, understands the scheme, good leader, and has won games for us. We added Sam Neuer after spring ball, that has won games at quarterback in this league, has a little bit different skill set, makes the game physical, moving his feet, big-time arm, anxious to work with him come in August. And Chance Nolan has started multiple games. We're really close in the last couple with him as a starting quarterback, counting on him making huge strides in his game from year 1 to year 2. And so we got really 3 good options there. Excited about Sam Vidlak, who's the true freshman for us, had a great spring, and he's going to have an opportunity this August to go. And so we got 4 healthy guys, Ben Goldbrinson as well, that had a shoulder injury that he won't be ready for fall camp. But in general, I think competition always, the cream rises to the top when you have that type of competition in August, but also it adds to our depth as the season goes.
Lynn Harrington, Stay Alive in Power 5, how you doing?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, Lynn Harrington with Stay Alive in Power 5, how you doing?
Good.
All right. Oregon State, they seem just to be getting so close, finally, snapped a losing streak to Oregon last season. The year before, the program won more games. How close is it to getting to that next point where you can actually get to a bowl game this fall?
Yeah, I think we're really close, but at the same time, it's not that easy. Like I mentioned earlier, I mean, this league is competitive. You got to play well to win, and we've closed the gap quite a bit over the 3 years that I've been coaching. But at the same time, getting over that hump is just not that simple. And so every year is new. We know that we've made huge strides. We're confident in what we've got as a program, but we know we got work to do to be able to get over that hump and win all these games that are really close. So, I mean, even last year, look at even our 2 wins from last year's 5 games, those were tight. I mean, those could have gone either way, and then we had a couple really tight losses that could have gone either way. So it's not easy, but I know I'm confident in these players we've got and as coaches that we're anxious to get to work and get over that hump.
Coach.
Morning, Coach. Max Torres with Ducks Digest. Oregon State not necessarily known as a recruiting power, nationally in the Pac-12, but you guys have added some pretty big players through the transfer portal this offseason. Just tell me a little bit about your guys' approach there.
Yeah, it's the transfer portal over the last couple of years has been another great avenue to add to your roster. And so we're going to use every avenue we can to bring talent and fit to our place. And so we've had some real success with it over the last couple of years, and we'll continue to do that. I still want to have a majority come from the high school level, which we've done. But at the same time, this day and age in college football, there's some really good players that have gone, and for whatever reasons, different fits at different places hasn't worked, but the fit at Corvallis has been better, and we're going to continue to use it.
Anyone else? Come on up.
Nick Dassel from the Oregonian. Jonathan, obviously we had some transfers come in on the receiver room. You're probably 8, 9 guys deep. How do you sort that out going into, how do you come up with those 9, probably 8, 9 guys deep, would you say?
Yeah, we've got some depth at that position. I do think we play a scheme that we're going to play 3, sometimes 4 at a time, but it's going to be competitive. In August, to be the every down receiver out there, we will substitute a decent amount and put guys in positions with their skill sets work best. But I'm excited about having some depth at that room. And you look at the experience that we've got, guys coming back. You've talked about some additions we've had. We've got some younger talent that I think has had a chance to play too. So commonly we'll play about 6 during the game, but shoot, this year might be a little different, 7 or 8.
And in addition to that, you've got the tight ends. You've got a growing number there too. I guess how do you keep everybody happy?
I know. Well, I think all those guys you're talking about in that receiver and tight end room are unselfish. They understand there's one football, and that sometimes their role is to get the other guy open. But the tight end piece you brought up with Luke Musgrave and Teagan, those 2 guys I think are as good as there are in this league. The combination of the 2 of them. With Luke playing as a true freshman and getting his feet wet, but had a really nice year. He had an awesome spring ball. He's a real threat in the pass game, got a lot better at the line of scrimmage. Teagan's a little bit flipped, physical at the line of scrimmage, got better as a pass catcher. He's caught a couple touchdowns for us. Those 2 will be a huge piece of the offense.
Just a purely X's and O's question for you, Jonathan, as an offensive guy. The sport as a whole is moving more towards 2-down linemen on defensive fronts. Your division, including yourselves, is more of a throwback in the 12 and 13 personnel usage. So how do you, as a head coach, go about defensively or as a play caller offensively? We have the sport going in one direction, but your division is kind of the opposite.
That's a good question. I do think you start on who you're going to play, and so within your division and whatnot, though you're going to play those guys every year, so you got to be able to implement and defend, but also you want to have some variety offensively to not be exact same as everybody. I do think this game of college football is a little cyclical. You look at the schemes offensively over decades of time, it sometimes circles on back to something that was really good 20, 30 years ago. But you want to be unique in ways, and we'd want to do that on both sides of the ball. at the same time have your schemes be able to defend or have success against who you're playing year in and year out.
In recruiting, wanted to ask about like the scholarship management, particularly now after the super seniors and everyone's eligibility being paused. How do you approach that in knowing how many spots you actually have for next year?
Yeah, you got to forecast a little bit. It's interesting. It's something that's going to be, you find out late in the year because we have super seniors, so you're going to lose those guys. But a lot of now what you deem as juniors have played 4 years, and so anticipating you're going to lose some of those to the NFL and go. But you can't have a definitive number sitting here currently, like August 1st. It's always going to be a little moving target.
Beyond forecasting, though, do you have to have frank conversations with your juniors, like you say, the true seniors, about what their futures are so that you don't have a crunch on the back end? Well,
Right.
obviously, like, something could always happen, someone could get hurt.
Sure.
Yes, but ultimately, do you have to have, beyond forecasting, a little bit more of a concrete idea?
You definitely have these conversations because these guys are thinking about it too. Am I going to play one more year and take my shot at the NFL? Where these guys' school academically are, a lot of them are going to be graduated by that point. And so you have conversations with those guys really before the season, which we've done even after spring ball, kind of where their head was at with things. But ultimately, they should be making these decisions after they've played this season and how well this has gone, and then make the decision. And then, we're going to sort some things out.
Hi, Jonathan. Nick Selby with Sports Illustrated. Someone who's gone up against Kbond Thibodeau a couple times, what's it been like just facing him and devising a game plan that's sort of focused on him?
Yeah, really good player, and can wreak havoc. And not just in the pass game, rushing the passer. The guy can do some things against the run, chasing it down from the backside. He's gotten really physical at the point of attack. So he shows up on tape right away when you turn it on. And so he's a guy that you got to put a plan together for, whether you're going to pick and choose when you're going to double team in pass protection, pick and choose when you know you're going to leave your tackle isolated and let him go one-on-one. They've done a good job over the last year or two of not just sitting him at the same exact spot the whole time, so they make it tough. He's a force to be reckoned with.
I'll ask you kind of a multi-part question about Sam Neuer. And what was it that attracted you to bring him in, and what has he added to your program, and kind of your first impressions of him so far? I know you haven't practiced yet.
Right. Well, starting with what attracted us to him, we actually, because we took the injury during spring ball to a quarterback, we thought about it. You know what? We need another number here. And then as he became available, it started with some of the connection with players on the team. Played with him in high school, known him really well. Coach Lindgren had recruited him when he was at Colorado, so there was a connection there, knowing a little bit of background from him. And everything I've heard so far and since he's been here has been great. You talk about a guy who loves the game, is unselfish. You can see why he has leadership capabilities even in the short time he's been with us. And so I'm really excited to kind of see him out there on the practice field with us, using that skill set that he has, not just throwing or running, but also on this leadership side.
I believe that Brian was his quarterback's coach the first 2 years in Colorado, so has that familiarity kind of made the transition easier for him?
I think it has. You'd ask those two guys in particular, but, even just schematically and some of the ways we call plays probably brought back what he remembers from his first couple of years.
Following that, Jonathan, just can you speak to what you may have heard from Sam about what his experience was with the Manning Academy and what he got out of that experience? I know they didn't have the competition that Saturday night because of weather, but
Right.
the whole camp and what he got out of that.
I haven't talked to him in detail about it. I was anxious to get with him here this week, but I know he was really excited. I know, because I've had other quarterbacks go to that, how impressive that camp is, how much they get out of it, the side conversations besides the classroom and working with the guys and working out. But I can't tell you in detail how he did.
One NIL question about, more on the state level, about the state law. I realize it's uncharted territory, but the way that the law reads, it could be theoretically possible that, say, a transfer athlete who is signed with a company not named Nike has a deal that spans more than a given year. That by state law, if they're signed with another apparel provider, and that apparel provider says you will not play at a Nike school, your state law puts you at a competitive disadvantage because you cannot recruit that player theoretically. Again,
Yeah,
we're
that's
down a
interesting.
path, but, so your assessment of, you're all for NIL and all for the, but
Right.
there are some things on the
There's no
state
question.
level that are problematic, potentially.
Yeah, I feel like, at least at Oregon State in our conversations, this NIL we are for, but there's going to be a learning curve as this goes, even over the next couple of years, of some of the ramifications, implications, just like even that scenario you're talking about there. And I'm not an expert of all of that in any way, but I do feel like these student athletes should be able to benefit from their name, image, and likeness.
We have a few minutes left with Coach Smith. Any further questions?
Hey, Jonathan, Theo Lawson with the spokesman review. There's been a lot of talk the last 4 or 5 days about vaccines and especially Washington State's Nick Rolovich not being vaccinated. Do you feel like coaches have an obligation as kind of leaders to be vaccinated, or what's kind of your stance on that?
Right. I can speak to, just my personal preference, and Oregon State, highly recommended. Feel like, the vaccine has been, it's not just a personal choice, but a choice for, protecting others. At the same time, it is someone's personal decision to make. I know on our end, really proud of where we're at as a team, percentage of vaccinations, and these guys buying into that idea for not just themselves, but others.
Can you share what percentage of your team is vaccinated right now?
86%.
86, okay, thank you.